Peace, love, golden light. So in this video, I want to talk to you about the fear of journaling, right? You want to journal, you're not sure where to start, and even when you find yourself attempting to write, you can't do it, right? And sometimes when this happens, it's because certain fears that we have with ourselves, because journaling is like really facing yourself. It's your inner voice. It's the things that you are truly feeling, and then taking that step to write it out on paper. We write it out to release it and also sort through our thoughts so that we can work on healing ourselves. Journaling helps with dealing with trauma, dealing with insecurities, as well as, you writing about your desires and your goals and your dreams, right? But having to be honest with ourselves is something that a lot of us struggle with. It's something that I struggled with. And that's why I stress a lot with journaling is that be open, be honest, be free, right? But it's still hard to do that. And trust me, I understand. So I want to talk about that and show you some ways to kind of break up that fear, to change your mindset around journaling, and then allow it to be a fun experience for you that will be rewarding when you're working on yourself and doing that shadow work or inner work, right? So let's get into it. So when it comes to writing, right, the thing that I stress the most is that you are open and that you are honest and that you remember that you can always be yourself, right? So the way that you write, how you decide to write is completely up to you. You want to go with your rhythm. You want to flow to your flow, okay? But what happens when we really try to start to write, we can't. We find that although we may think something, although we may feel something, especially when we're dealing with pain, fear, insecurity, some of the low vibrational type of emotions that we may have that stops us from being our highest self, or our greater self. So those type of things we run from, right? We run from the things we run from facing head on the things that we're afraid of, the things that hurt us, but also pain and trauma that has happened in our past. So I know that it does take time to reach there. I'm still picking apart things that's happened to me within my childhood, but I realize how rewarding it has been for me over the years of really taking my writing serious and being intentional and honest with myself. So when you're writing and you're expressing yourself, even if you think of something, it's almost as if it's like nobody else knows. So it's still hidden, and we have a way of like putting things off in our mind. So if I get to a point where I realize like, oh, this is making me jealous, right? And the thought comes to me, I'm not really going to go on a adventure to figure out why I'm jealous. I kind of just feel the emotion, then deny it, and somehow push it to some part of my mind. But what happens is that our actions start to really show from our thought process. I'm starting to have a jealous perspective. I'm starting to have a jealous mindset. My actions are coming off as a jealous person, but I still have been denying it, right? So if you are working through a situation of jealousy and you're trying to find out why and get to the root, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to take the jealousy and look at it, right? You have to figure out why are you feeling this way and being honest. So when you start to be honest, it may be something, like I said, you're saying within yourself. But when you take the next step of writing out, I am jealous, it's almost like you're saying it out loud. And that's not something that a lot of us are willing to admit because of how it makes us feel, right? Does it make you feel imperfect? Does it make you feel like you're not enough? Does it make you feel like you're not worthy? Why do we hide from these feelings that really can show us greater lengths that we can go with ourselves, right? So I want to encourage you to take your time to face the things that you feel are holding you back, and use journaling as a tool to kind of pick it apart, and build yourself up. Yes, I know that it's going to be painful. It can be hurtful, but at the other side of it, when you really are still going forward to doing the work, trust me when I say it is rewarding. So I want to talk about some things that I did. I've been journaling for a long time. Pretty much, it's always been an outlet for me when I was young. going off and writing out my thoughts. But as I got older, I started to really use it as a tool to speak to myself or recognize things within myself that I may not have done or may not have questioned when I was like the 10-year-old Toya that was writing in her journal, right? So now within, my early 20s, and then now where I am finally 30, still young and beautiful, right? But you start to realize some things that you have more questions that you want to ask the more experience that you have out of life and different situations that you go through. And of course, I talk about inner child a lot, using my childhood to learn, using my childhood to rebuild certain things within myself, and kind of just to have that connection, right? To have that relationship with your inner child. What you can do when you feel like you don't want to face yourself, use that as a prompt to start to write. But I want you to take the time to say that it's okay, that you are ready to face yourself, you are ready to be honest, because it is worth you elevating, right? That's what you kind of have to start there. Why do you want to do this, right? And how much does it mean to you that you are going to do what scares you, right? So start there, finding out why you are wanting to journal. What change and what types of things are you looking for to find through journaling? Start there. Now, as you begin to write, you may still find yourself not being completely honest, and it's okay. It's a process. It works. We're not changing overnight. If we have been tight-lipped about certain things, we are not just a chatty catty the next day, right? So be patient with yourself and kind of work through your own process. Even as I'm sharing different things that I'm doing, don't judge or gauge my pace with yours, right? Use it as inspiration and encouragement to say, okay, I started to write about what made me sad, and that was enough for today. I started to write about that. I noticed different areas of my life where the same thing is making me sad throughout the course of 5 years, right? And just grow from that. Start to connect with yourself and enjoy your process through journaling, right? And then switch it up. Add some fun things that you want to journal about, to kind of give you that balance to still explore and be creative within yourself. Now, I will say one thing that I did when I'm journaling and things like that is I found a way to still hide, but use my creativity as a way for me to still be expressive. Now, let me explain. So, I'm a person that loves to play on words. I love to be poetic. I love to take the visuals in my mind and find out what words is going to convey every type of emotion, from a scent, a smell, to a taste, to a touch, and to really try to convey that through words, right? So when I found myself writing about things that I was afraid of or things that I was insecure about, it's like I was writing this riddle, and it was fun. It was creative. I was able to get it out. I was able to release it, but it really didn't allow me to face myself. And even if I got to the point to share something that I've written, you would really have to sit down, talk with me, ask me questions about why I'm choosing things for you to find out that this is a girl that's writing about a heartbreak or something like that, or how she was not feeling beautiful, right? So you would have to do that. So it's like I stayed hidden even with myself, and of course amongst other people, because you wouldn't know that off gate from some things that I've written when I was younger. So I really had to be honest with myself. I really had to start removing those words that was almost like a crutch, right? Instead of saying I'm sad because you hurt me, I'm upset because you betrayed me, or I was told certain things that made me look a certain way, and start to use the language that I'm being naked, like I'm completely vulnerable in my writing and with myself, but alone, right? And even if we are alone and not around people, we sometimes still can't be honest with ourselves. So I had to start using the words that was saying what I feel. It wasn't time to be poetic, right? It wasn't time anymore to hide behind a play on words. Yes, we can still get back to that, but as I was going stronger in my healing, I was like, Toya, say what it is you mean. And my journal started to take on this new route, right? It started to almost appear like I wrote it out and I was like, oh my gosh, I just said that out loud. that's real. That's how I feel, and I'm gonna own it, right? And then I took it a next level where I started to say it out loud after I wrote it down. And then the next layer after that was sharing it with somebody to say, this is something that almost makes me feel like I'm weak, and I'm going to show you it. I'm going to be open, and I'm going to be vulnerable and show you these things that are the inner parts of me, right? That nobody would know about, or nobody would know that I'm struggling with. So when I started to do that, it started to open up so many doorways to say, okay, this is what's going on. And I know that's painful. I know that hurts. And I know that you're upset because you want to be so much more. But listen, you can get there. And this is how. And it started to allow me to write about different things that I enjoyed and different parts of myself that was sleeping, that was kind of quiet or hidden, or kind of caged up in a way because of my habits of being afraid and things like that. So use journaling as your way to get through another portal, as a way to explore the layers within yourself. And like I said, it's work. It's not easy, but if you are afraid, I want you to release that. I want you to release the fear, right? I want you to get comfortable with being alone. So my camera just died in the middle of me recording, and I didn't have an extra one, so I had to charge a little bit because I felt like the video just ended very like abrupt. But I feel in my spirit that I got everything out. I don't know where I left off at. I'm not gonna overthink it. I'm not gonna try to make it perfect. It happened. It is what it is. So I hope you were able to get some information from that. If you have any questions, leave it in a comment. I'm gonna do more videos to give you more tools, prompts, and just techniques to kind of help you fight through your fear of journaling and facing yourself through writing. So until next time, my sugar babies, peace and love.